Time and throughout the years, the sport has definitely seen a change as far as athletes preparing for shows, workouts, nutrition, supplements. But take us back to when you first started working out and how you thought about just taking your workouts to eventually the stage.
Yeah, I first worked out right when I came back from the Air Force. Got my membership Gold's Gym stuff, so got that. See the guys that are working out in the gym, Goats, and 2006 was my first show. Tried to get my foot wet, got my foot wet. A little bit of help with my nutrition, but not to the point where I was aesthetically cut up. Took about 6 years of break. Was working out with Dan Munoz, and he encouraged me to do 2012 show. Did that, did pretty good. Took first place on there, so that got me as a drive to do more shows and stuff and to prep up. So next one was 2013. We went ahead, me and Dan went to Seattle, Washington for the Emerald Cup, and didn't do too good. Diet wasn't all there. I guess the traveling. So now I know what to expect. You get there a little bit earlier at your venue. Came back to Guam after Emerald Cup and joined the Nationals, Guam Nationals. Took first place for Guam Nationals. Took first place for the International, which included Japan bodybuilders and competitors. So I took first for that, took overall for Guam Nationals, took overall for Guam International. So then on, I've been doing off-island, since 2014, since current, until current, yeah.
And you're still pursuing that pro card. That pro card is just right there in grasp. I know last year you were prepping for a show, suffered an injury. Tell us how recovery has been for you, bouncing back from that injury and staying focused at your goal of becoming a professional bodybuilder.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a heartfelt kind of setback, but then again, it got me stronger. I was a couple days away from heading to Pittsburgh. I was in El Paso at my brother's and prepping for it, and then that's when I got injured. So couldn't do anything about that. I was my arm was just swelled up and stuff. So came back to Guam, did the game plan, recovering now with Nick Dow, chiropractor, doing my therapy sessions right now. So getting better. I don't want to say it's a full 100%, but at least it's building up, to its potential.
And for athletes, injuries, it's a mind battle. I mean, you really got to remember the goal at hand and just getting back to where you need to be, pushing yourself slowly, not just getting back and, okay, the weights that I used to push around, I'm going to get right back to it. It's a slow progress. And talking about how, I guess, fitness and bodybuilding has changed with supplements. I mean, nowadays, back in the days when creatine first came out, it was like, bro, you're on creatine, and guys are just big because of what it did as far as, the water. Yeah. So, with supplements helping athletes reach their potential at a quicker rate, how do you think supplements have made an impact with competitors and athletes in general?
Plays a big role. First of all, you want to do your homework first. You want to know what works for your body. Every body is different, as far as reacting to, certain supplements. So it plays a big role. It plays definitely a big role. You want to make sure that, first of all, you want to make sure you're eating right. Get that diet plan going. Make sure you get your protein in. Your multivitamins and stuff. So pretty much overall, it takes a toll on you, and pretty much you just want to recover from that workout, and that's what supplements do. Yeah.
And if people haven't really seen CT Fletcher, I mean, now they know him as that motivational guy. Yes. But looking back at his story before, the crazy things he used to eat. He talked about going to McDonald's and eating how many Big Macs, large fries, and apple pies and shakes. Because back in the days when bodybuilding was still fresh and guys were just monsters in the gym, they thought that the calorie intake is what's going to keep them big and just eating all those types of junk food. But nowadays, guys are actually weighing their meals. They're eating more often. I was recently watching, I forgot the name of the bodybuilder, but this guy was like, man, I'm tired of eating, but he has to force himself to eat because of just the calorie intake. Now, for you as a competitive bodybuilder, walk us through off season, like where you're walking around at and what's your meals like and your calorie intake like in the off season.
Off season, I usually walk around like maybe 187. And then as far as nutrition wise, I'm still kind of eating clean, but then again, you got your cheat days and stuff, so I still get that in. But once contest prep comes around, then that's when, you know, the measurements come into play. And I have actually Corey here from Paradise, and he preps my meals, so that's one worry out of that contest prep time frame. So it's definitely a big role as far as maintaining off-season and on-season contest prep for your meals. You know, you want to make sure you measure. You want to make sure that you get a certain amount of protein, carbs, fats, and a lot of people are getting into this keto diet and stuff, but sometimes they lose more muscle mass than anything, you know. And of course, you can lose weight real quick on the keto diet, but it all depends on different athletes. So, yeah.
And for you, how far out do you start prepping for a show? If a show's, you know, usually shows are at a target date, they set the date for that, but how far out do you start prepping for a show?
Last contest prep for Pittsburgh, I started out 20 weeks out. I just talked to my coach, Stan McQuay. He's out of California. And this time around, we're going to start 16 weeks out. So this year, 16 weeks out. And then after June, I go into Pittsburgh, which is August. So it's like a nonstop process all the way through August.
And, you know, for contest prep, of course, it's dieting and making sure your body, bodybuilders always talk about complete package. And talk a little bit more about that. Like when you talk about putting your best package out there on stage, what does that consist of as far as just symmetry, definition, muscle mass?
Nowadays, the judges are looking for overall, pretty much your back, everything accounts to their judging and point system. So let's say, for example, you do a show last year, you look at the pictures and you see what you're lagging and stuff. So a complete package is pretty much just trying to maintain or upgrading your lagging body parts and stuff. So you want to make sure that you do your homework and you make sure you want to build just a bigger quads or bigger back, more detailed. So it's not all about being big. It's about being aesthetically, you know, cut up and just making sure that all your muscles will show on stage.
And for those that don't understand how the bodybuilding show and scene works, winners are already placed in prejudging. So prejudging takes place usually in the morning. And, you know, for you athletes, how is that? I mean, waking up in the morning, you guys are probably still hungry because you're really trying to stay as lean as possible. And does that help you guys? I mean, some people might just have a meal or two right after prejudging, and then when it's time for the show in the evening, they're not as defined as they were in the morning.
You know, it all depends. Small show, big show, you want to make sure that you're prepared. Prejudging, of course, is the more detailed judging as far as getting all the athletes out on stage and try to. It's like herding out a big cattle. You know, get a cattle company. You're kind of herding out all those small cattle and stuff. So pretty much you want to make sure that you bring in your best package on prejudging. You don't want to also eat too much and get waterlogged and hold that water for the night show because you're not sure if the judges are done judging, especially on a big show. You got so many competitors, the competition is so tight. You don't know if you could be placed in third, but you might be first. So you can never know, but you always want to be prepared. Yeah.
And there's a lot of myths about guys that, cutting weight and eating salt to dilute some of that water weight. But What have you remember hearing or tricks of the trade for competitors as they prepare for that day of the show or the morning of?
Your peak week is actually your most important week out of any contest prep. You can prep up for like 16 weeks. And if you mess up on your salt intake, your water intake, your carb load, and it can throw away your whole 16 weeks of prep. But like I said, get a coach. If you're not experienced, make sure you get a coach or someone that's experienced, and look at yourself day to day, a week right before contest prep or contest time. And you want to make sure that you're not holding water. A lot of people, there's a myth that, you're pulling water, then you load up carbs. Sometimes carbs will hold water, and you'll be looking like a water buffalo out there. Oh my God, I've been cut up 2 weeks ago. I look way better 2 weeks ago. So you just want to make sure you do your homework, rely on your coach, rely on your coaches, and you want to have those second eyes. You've been carving up, or you've been dieting for so long. You want to make sure that you have those second eyes, because you can't see yourself on the mirror every day and see those little details.
We got a question from Facebook for you guys.
All right, so this is coming from Mayor Belcher. Is he on a certain type of diet right now?
Yes, I am. Actually, started my contest prep, and I'm on a slightly keto diet, but I still have carbs in there. So I still have my fats, but real low carbs, and higher protein this time. But yes, I'm on a contest prep diet right now.
When it comes to being on stage, of course, the tanning, the rubbing the cream on you for muscle definition, posing, and music. How important are those three aspects to your on-stage presence?
Those three elements, they're real important, especially posing. When my athletes ask why we're posing early, 10 weeks out, by posing, you feel more comfortable out on stage. Also, it actually, you take advantage of getting out all that blood, pushing that blood into the muscle, and getting more defined by posing. But posing, it's actually almost like doing cardio. You sweat. A good 10 minutes of posing, you put in a good sweat. So those are actually three important elements. Tanning is one of them too. You want to make sure that on a big contest, NPC contest, they do have tanning companies out there. You want to invest in that. You don't want to do your own tanning and, go out there and you're like the lightest person on stage. You want to make sure you want to rely on that company that's sponsored by that contest, so they can make sure they do a good 100% as far as color and stuff, so they know what they're doing.
And when it comes down to pose down and you guys are flexing and you guys are moving around on stage, how do you dictate where you want to go? Do you want to go to the guy that's you feel that is bigger, or do you have an advantage over? Because when they say pose down and guys are moving around the stage, they're trying to show up one another pretty much.
Yes, they do. It's more of that time when they do a pose down. It's more like a little boxing match or something like that, if you want to call it. But with me, I want to make sure that every judge in that panel sees me. I don't care who's the biggest on stage. I want to make sure that every judge in that panel sees me and see what body parts they haven't seen that night. Because in that panel, you can't really see every body part on an athlete, because of a different angle and stuff. So you want to make sure that you give them the best body part that you have, so they can actually either change their scores or change their judging and stuff. So
I just want to say thanks for coming on the show, and if anybody out there wants to follow your journey, your progress, any social media outlets out there for you?
Just IG. It's 671BB on Instagram.
All right. Good luck with your bodybuilding.
Yeah, definitely. thank you. Appreciate, coming out and stuff. And I got a couple of sponsors that I want to thank. It's Hardcore 808 Nutrition out in Aiea in Hawaii, Alchemy Labs, Fuckeye, Buenas and Hafane, and of course Paradise Fitness for sponsoring me and helping me out.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us here at Paradise in Tumon. Catch us next Thursday, same time, 9 a.m.